Between November 21 and December 15, if you shop there and it snows 3 inches on Christmas, your purchase will be free. See store and SartorHeyman.com for details. Don't miss out. You can get all your money back this Christmas. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, the official jeweler of Husker Athletics, and your official sponsor of your Nebraska Volleyball show. I'm John Baylor, soon to be joined by the head coach, John Cook. As we begin the 3-week NCAA tournament, the team that goes 6-0 clears off some shelf space. Nebraska, your number 5 seed, is in the number 4 seeds regional. That would be Big Ten champion Wisconsin. But first, the Huskers get a tough draw in the opening round. Ball State has won 9 in a row. They're your MAC tournament champions. The Cardinals are 20-11, 11-5. In the MAC conference this past year, and one common opponent, Ball State, way back in early September, lost in 3 to Purdue. The winner gets either Northern Iowa, which is 24-10, or old friend Missouri, which is 21-7 out of the SEC now. December delirium. December Devaney delirium begins Friday night as your Huskers take on Ball State. I'm John Baylor. Here's the head coach of Nebraska Volleyball, John Cook. Good evening.
Good evening, JB.
How are you, sir?
Hanging in there, hanging in there.
Sounds like a tiring day.
Tiring day, tiring week. So it's just part of the grind. You got to win the grind, baby.
Win the grind.
As the Navy SEALs say, the only easy day was yesterday.
You got to win the grind.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is that somewhere on some wall at Nebraska Volleyball? Win the grind?
It's on the whiteboard.
Nice.
You got to win the grind today.
Hopefully,
if you want to win tomorrow, you got to win the grind today. So that's one of our mantras.
Have you been winning or losing the grind this week?
We grinded pretty hard today. The theme was, I asked them, I said, would you rather be uncomfortable in practice today or uncomfortable when we play the matches? And I said, we want to be uncomfortable in practice so when we get the matches, they're easy. So it was a grind day. Those days, they take it out of me because I got to grind. I got to grind too, yeah.
You're quite a motivator. Is there a motivational message each week, or maybe for each month, or just an umbrella one for the entire year?
We kind of have something every other day or so. I threw something out there. Just things I have saved up, or quotes, or things we talk about, or, we have our EDMF belt, which we gave that out today. I mean, that gets presented once a week, so there's constantly things going on to help motivate. Now, some of them, who knows what they think and how, if it makes a difference, but we attempt to motivate.
Is it time to finally publicize what EDMF stands for?
Yeah, Everyday Michaela Fecky.
I'll take that as a yes. Everyday Michaela Fecky, because in years past you were secretive about the meaning of that acronym.
Well, it's because it was Everyday Michaela Fecky, and she was still here. Now that she's gone, we can share that. But that's the, she was a great role model, great example, maybe the greatest player ever to play here. So,
every day, did she win the grind?
She won the grind every day. That's the beautiful thing about her. She grinded every day, and her deep belief, her inner belief was so strong, and that's why we were so successful with her on the team, because that spread to everybody. That's what we're trying to find right now is a deep belief in our team and our leaders on our team.
Who this week has won the EDMF belt?
It actually was given to one of our player who had it, was Jazz, and she gave it to the managers. It's the first time ever, history today.
Managers.
So the managers. So Sato, John LaRouche, Joby, and Kelly Hunter. They got the EDMF belt today, and they'll get to keep it for a week, and hopefully next week they'll be able to give it to somebody, present a new one.
But Jazz last week was a deserving recipient.
Jazz was given it last week by, trying to remember who had it, but a player had it, and so they get the honor of presenting it to the next person to get it.
Do they wear it during practice?
They put it in their locker.
Okay.
It's a really nice belt, championship belt, heavyweight championship belt.
Nice. Jazz was, after what she did with Maryland and Ohio State, she might have thought about keeping it.
Yeah. Well, she could have given it to herself again. that would be historic too.
I deserve this.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to myself again. I gotta ask the next one that does
every
that.
month. MF.
Next one. Hey, you guys, it's okay to give it to yourself if you want.
866-HUSKER-1, 866-HUSKER-1 if you want to chime in on your Sartor Heeman Jeweler Nebraska volleyball show. You got the number 5 seed, and that's flattering. Then you find out who the number 4 seed is, and that's sobering.
Yeah, well, it's the NCAA tournament.
They don't want a Big Ten fest in Pittsburgh.
Right.
They want to make sure the Big Ten knocks itself out.
Yeah, they're kind of, I don't even know, I think they're just going by how they seeded it, and they run with it. They don't care what conference you're in. And it's, same thing last year. We would have had to, we were lined up with Minnesota at Minnesota, so it's no different for us.
I'm hoping that Ronica Stone shows up.
Yeah, but they didn't put, I'm not, well, let's see. Did they put second place Pac-12 in with Stanford or Texas is tied in the Big 12 with Baylor. They were the only 2 ranked teams in the conference. So I haven't looked at this thing close enough. Are there any other Big Ten teams that are going to play each other before the 3rd or 4th round?
Purdue and Michigan might see each other in the
3rd round?
In the 4th round, and that would be the Elite 8.
Okay, yeah, Elite 8.
So both of them cannot get in there.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin and Nebraska would see each other also in the Elite 8 should both teams get there. Penn State would probably see Stanford in the Elite 8, and Minnesota would probably see now Illinois is the wild card, and Illinois conceivably could see another Big Ten team sooner. I'll track that information down for you in just a second.
Also, I know is there's a lot of scary teams in the Big Ten.
Yes,
to play.
Oh, I think Baylor or USC is probably going to see Purdue. That market, that bracket, that Baylor.
Yeah.
First 2 rounds are interesting. Baylor gets USC the 2nd round.
Well, I think our first, second round's interesting. We're getting a fringe top 25 ranked team who led the SEC in attack efficiency. They return everybody. And then you look at Penn State. They got to play American to get to the Elite 8, and then I was talking to Danny Busman today at Louisville. They got a great draw.
Yes,
and they're not even seeded.
Yeah,
they might have a better draw than we do.
Yeah. They got Samford, and then they got Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
and then they see Texas.
Yeah, so great draw for them, and but don't count out Samford. You know who coaches there?
The old Northwestern coach.
The old Northwestern coach, yeah. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
So he's recycled there, and, I always thought Northwestern, scouting them and everything, was really well coached. It just, I don't know, there was other things missing on those teams, but they were really well coached. They did some really nice things.
They just couldn't get the talent.
Well, it was some of that. They had talent, though. Look back at some of the talent on those teams.
Yeah.
That outside hitter that was stud.
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us
trouble. Yeah, they thumped us there. But the outside hitter, we've had some tough matches with them. We went 5 with them here one year. But they had some.
They haven't been very good since he left.
Yeah. Well, they're getting good now. They finished really strong. I think they won 3 out of their last 4.
Yep.
Beat Illinois.
So do you think they got the top 4 seeds right?
JB, so the way I look at it, I think Baylor is definitely a top 4 seed. I think Stanford is definitely a top 4 seed. I question Texas. But because they lost to Rice.
Yep.
They lost to Stanford.
Yep.
They beat Baylor once, and they beat Minnesota. Those are their 2 big wins. I don't even know what other ranked teams they played.
They beat Northern Iowa, Southern Cal. They beat Minnesota. They lost to Stanford. So did Nebraska. They did beat BYU.
Okay, BYU.
And
San Diego beat BYU twice, and we beat San Diego.
And they beat Wichita State, and then they lost to Rice.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Baylor. So they lost to Stanford and Baylor, and they lost to Rice. They had 3 losses. Nebraska had 4 losses. But they played 9 matches in a row where they swept their opponents in conference because it's the Big 12.
Yeah, but how many of those teams are ranked in the Big 12?
Zilch. It's just
Zilch,
Baylor.
yeah.
They split with Baylor.
Right.
So they're playing West Virginia, TCU, Kansas State, Oklahoma. Nebraska's playing Penn State, Purdue, Michigan State, Illinois.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know how they got so high, and they may be deserving of it, but I think some of these teams get rewarded playing in weak conferences, and so like we all know the RPI is flawed, but you shouldn't be penalized for playing in a tough conference. I mean, I'd like to see a lot of these other teams go into the Big Ten. It'd
at least be nice if the Big Ten could have been split up.
Yeah.
So you don't see each other in the Elite Eight. The top teams don't see each other.
Yeah, that would be nice, especially since we were all so close.
Yeah.
But at some point you got to play. If everybody advances, you got to play them. But yeah, be interesting. But I just hope the Big Ten does well. But I texted Kelly Sheffield, the Wisconsin coach, and said, "Congrats on winning the Big Ten." I go, it's the hardest thing to do in college volleyball, and I said our conference is brutal. And he texted back. He says, "Yeah, this conference is so gnarly." And he goes, "I realize how hard this is, and it's not an easy deal to win."
It's the 7th conference championship for Wisconsin.
7th Big Ten?
7th, yep, Big Ten championship for Wisconsin.
Really? Yeah. So
your favorite?
Well, they had one before I got there.
In '97.
They had one before that.
Before that?
Yeah,
'97,
and then Lizzie Stempke won a couple as a setter there, who I recruited to Wisconsin. Yep. And then Pete Waite had a couple. Mm-hmm. And then Sheffield, this is his second.
Yeah, Carlini won one for him.
Yeah.
This is his second.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
866-HUSKER-1, 866-HUSKER-1 if you want to join in the Sartor Heyman Jewelers Nebraska Volleyball Show. Here's Joe in Crete, Nebraska. Hello, Joe. Great to have you on the Nebraska Volleyball Show.
I really appreciate the Nebraska volleyball team. They played an extremely tough schedule, and not only played that, but they played it well, and they didn't stumble really badly any place along the line. Their losses were all to top 10 teams. But I'm wondering, is there any way that we could lighten up the coach? He looks, every time they pan him on the television set, he looks like he just got chewed up by Wendy. And the other thing is, I really am kind of anxious to find out what he thinks about Lexi Sun. I think Lexi Sun really, at the start, didn't seem to be fit. And then all of a sudden, after the loss they had to Wisconsin, she really played well. And it really, I think, made a heck of a difference in the club. And I will gladly hang up and listen to what you have to say.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, I didn't get the part. I do get chewed out by Wendy. So
these things happen.
No, she tells me what I need to hear and what I need to do. Make sure I'm on the right tracks. But I'm an intense, focused coach, Joe. So trying to win the next point. And Lexi has made some big strides from last year to this year. She's learning how to grind and be a 6-rotation player. She's learning how to work through tough times and tough patches and when she doesn't play well. So really, really proud of her. And she's put a lot of work in and people are seeing the results, but her stats are significantly better than they were last year.
And Coach, I think I saw you applaud your team, stand up and applaud your team more this year than I've ever seen before.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Well, they played some good volleyball.
Yeah.
There's some times that, I mean, I was doing everything I could not to hang on to that clipboard, but they've done some good volleyball. And like I told them after the this weekend, they're fun to watch. They're a fun team to watch. I mean, they just, I don't know. I can see why our fans really like them, and we sold out first, second round. We're the only school I know of so far that have done that. But this team is fun to watch, and sometimes I get caught up just watching how much fun they're having.
I spoke to Kelly Hunter recently, and she says you've changed a fair amount. So
Kelly doesn't know what she's talking about.
But I'd suggest you're looser than you used to be. You're having a lot more fun than you used to be.
Yeah, trying to.
Not always successful. 866-HUSKER-1, 866-HUSKER-1. But one unknown, at least from my vantage point preseason, was do we have an outside hitter who can terminate reliably? I think now you have two. Alexi's one and Maddie's the other.
Yeah, well, Maddie's developed there, and Jazz. I mean, you got to have three outside. If you can have three outsides that can terminate, it really helps. But we're leading the conference in kills per game. We're leading in second in assists per game. We're second in attack efficiency. I mean, John, we're significantly higher than we were last year, and higher than 2017 in the Big Ten stats.
And you're also tops defensively.
We're number one. And then we have the lowest opponent attack efficiency we've had in the last 3 years.
And you're not thrilled with the serving. And usually those low opponent attack percentages are a product of great serving by the Huskers. So imagine if you had typical, solid Husker serving, how low those percentages might be.
Yeah, that's the one area where we lost two great servers in Michaela and Kenzie. And so I tell these guys the most important drill, the most important skill to work on is serving, and so our serving numbers are way down from where they were last year and 2 years ago, and mainly it's Michaela and Kenzie Maloney. Those guys were great servers, high aces, low errors, and they put a lot of stress on teams.
How about some of your returning players? Have they taken a step back on serving?
Well, I think Lexi and Nicklin have a little bit. They were both really good. They're still good servers, but compared to where they were last year. But I also think because when you're missing more serves, it makes you more tense when other players are missing, and then you get a little more tentative. And you'd always could count on Michaela, Kenzie, Kelly Hunter, those guys, Sydney Townsend, Ani Albright. I mean, those guys served tough and they served in. And this year we've got some young people serving, and they tend to, was it a couple matches ago? I mean, well, it was a Maryland match. I mean, what did we miss? 5-6 serves in the first game. I think we missed 2 against Ohio State. So when it gets everybody tense.
And back to leading the conference in kills, that per set, that's with 2 true freshmen passing 4 or 5 rotations. So and you're not in system a whole lot. So what you've got are outside pin hitters who can terminate out of system with 4 hands in front of them.
Yeah, we've worked hard on that.
866-HUSKER-1, the Sports Nightly Hotline, is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. More Nebraska Volleyball Show brought to you by... Welcome back to your Starter Hammond Jewelers Nebraska Volleyball Show. A lot of head coaching jobs are changing hands. Big news today. Ohio State and Rutgers will have new coaches next year. It's part of the business. It's not personal.
Black Monday.
A lot of jobs available. Now, are you worried about getting rated again? As your assistant coaches every year seemingly get the phone calls.
I don't know. There's a lot of jobs open yesterday, which means when those jobs get hired, more assistants move, which opens up other jobs. So it's a big chain reaction. So this to start already. How many jobs opened up today? Another one, Utah State opened up today. What is that? What did I give you? 7 or 8 head coaching jobs that all opened up today. So it creates a massive chain reaction as things move.
And, Coach, these programs look to elite programs like Nebraska, and so many of the other elite programs have comfortable assistant coaches seemingly unwilling to leave, whereas Nebraska has young assistant coaches that want to become head coaches eventually.
Yeah, well, I try to hire. I mean, if somebody says I want to be a lifetime assistant, I've never had anybody say that, but I want to hire people that want to be head coaches because they're going to work hard to better themselves and better our team, so they can use this as a way to get to a head coaching position. So I just think if you're motivated to want to be a head coach, then they'll work. 866-HUSKER-1.
I got a nominee for the toughest draw in a moment. But first, let's go to Debbie here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Debbie, great to have you on the Nebraska Volleyball Show.
Why, thank you. You usually hear from my husband, Charlie. I thought it was my turn.
Hey.
Thank you.
How's Charlie
Hey,
doing tonight?
JB, you talked about Coach being up and applauding more.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's that new hip.
It might be. I can get up a lot easier than I used to.
You are more
thought so.
mobile these days.
But as to volleyball, I know you keep a lot of numbers and stats and look at everything, and I'm wondering if you have looked at the black court and serving. I'm sort of maintaining that there's something to that. When we went to Iowa, they had the black court too.
Did we serve good there?
I don't have the numbers. I think you have the numbers.
We served great against Ohio State. We did not serve well against Maryland, but that was also from too much turkey, probably. Who did we play? I can't remember who else. Oh yeah, that's the only two matches. And then we brought it out for the tournament, so I don't remember.
Is the black court helping?
I think we served pretty well at Iowa, if I remember right. I think we gave them a lot of problems there. So
yeah,
good question.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I didn't
I'll
know
ask
if
the
it was
players tomorrow. I'll ask them if they notice a
a
difference.
vision thing. Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. Thanks, Debbie. Now, the black court looks cool, but is it really helping you? Because I think you struggled a few times with the black court.
No, I
You
don't think it
haven't done that
matters.
analysis? You haven't done that analysis?
No.
All right. 866 Husker 1. Here's my nominee for the team that was mistreated the worst. Creighton.
Okay, what's their draw, JB?
Creighton, Iowa State, and Minnesota in the Twin Cities. I thought everyone liked Kirsten.
Yeah. Well, if I had to speculate, they didn't win their Big East tournament, which is that's a trap deal. It's a no-win situation for them after they win the conference. But I think in the conference they lost to Villanova at some point. Yeah. And I mean Villanova's not an NCAA tournament team. You know, you can't have bad losses like that, so you can't get caught up in the AVCA ranking because that's coaches vote on that, and who knows how much they pay attention. But they're losing to a match, and they're in a tough spot because if they lose to somebody like that, that really could hurt them.
Well, Minnesota's draw. I mean, they get Fairfield in the first round, but then possibly Creighton, and then possibly Florida, and then possibly Texas. I got them in the Final Four, but if they get there, they've earned it.
Yeah. So you're telling me Creighton's going to Minnesota?
Yes.
Okay. And Iowa State's there too. And who was the other team?
And Fairfield.
Fairfield. We've seen Fairfield before.
We've seen them before. They're a perennial first-round team.
Yeah.
They like the hospitality. I think they wandered around the Haymarket for a little bit.
Yeah.
Took in the sights.
Yeah.
Enjoyed themselves, and now they're going to enjoy the Twin Cities.
Just glad it's not Harvard or American.
Harvard in 15, and American in 06. Toughest first-round draws.
I know.
Scary. Harvard was your toughest match in the whole 15 run to the title.
Yeah, I know.
And let's just hope Harvard's not coming back, or an American from 06. Dorothy Lynch, Homestyle Dressing and Condiment is the one-of-a-kind taste that goes with anything, good for game day or any day. Dorothy Lynch, endless flavorabilities. And donate today to the Woodhouse Backpack Challenge and help secure meals for hungry children across our community. Visit woodhouse.com/foodbank to donate and support Food Bank for the Heartland Backpack Program. Brad in Lincoln, you're up next on the Nebraska Volleyball Show. Hello, Brad.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for asking.
Good. Yeah, sure. Coach, congratulations on the 5 seed.
Thanks. It really doesn't mean a whole lot, but
I know. It's a nice number. My question is, how would you say the team has grown this year? I've listened to your comments, tried to catch your show, your post-game comments. It seems like a lot of the things that you're talking about the team needing to get better at later in the season are the things they needed to get better at early in the season. And I know a lot of that stuff is challenging stuff, but just wondering what areas you think the team has shown growth in.
Really good question. I think they're learning how to handle their emotions. So that's one of our big things, their emotions. We're a really young team. I mean, I think we have one player that's 21, maybe one that's 20, and everybody else is 18, 19. So we're really a young team in that regard. So emotionally, they've learned how to handle the grind, the pace, these big matches where, you know, if you'd have told me we'd be a 5 seed when we were playing San Diego at San Diego, and we were playing who did we play after that? Some of the matches
Arizona.
we had, Arizona, and then we played a tournament here, Denver, and those guys.
High Point.
If you'd have told me, and then Stanford, if you'd have told me we were going to be a 5 seed, I would have bet you a lot of money.
But you're against gambling. Very much against it.
So I just think they've grown on how to handle things. They're learning how to play. They're learning how to play Husker volleyball. They're learning how tough the Big Ten. I mean, the Big Ten is such a great teacher for learning how you have to be as a team and how you have to be successful. So, and they've had a great growth mindset. And I think it's another area they've grown. They're working to get better. They want to get better, and they have fun with it. But we do some really high-level things. I mean, we're the number 1 defensive team in the conference. We're second in attack efficiency. So, I mean, we weren't doing that in 2016, 2017. So these guys have done some pretty cool stuff.
More Nebraska Volleyball Show brought to you by Welcome back to your Sartor Heyman Jewelers Nebraska Volleyball Show. The Nebraska FFA Foundation supports agriculture, education, and FFA by growing leaders, building communities, and strengthening agriculture. Support your FFA chapter through the I Believe campaign. Learn more at nefffoundation.org. Brought to you by Farm Credit Services and Bayer. And Nebraska 811 says, go dig red before you dig. Always call or click 811 to have your utility lines marked. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. Greg in Grand Island, you're up next. Here's Mike in Omaha. Hi, Mike. Good to have you on the Nebraska Volleyball Show. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Bud. Coach, I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with your captains. That Minnesota game I'm watching on TV, and the 5th set's about to start. The way the Big Ten Network handled it, I thought was beautiful. And they said, hey, folks, you got to see what happened between the 4th and 5th set, and they're showing Stiverins and the way the players, I'm watching them, the other players, and you could just tell the respect they have for her and the affection on that team. And your other captain, Hames, the way she dives for balls in her setting, and out of system plays. But, look, I got 2 questions. Is there anybody in practice that is really showing some great stuff, but they're not playing in the games much, so we wouldn't be aware of it? And the other question is, this vertical leap improvement of your players really intrigues me. Are there any that have really made impressive improvements in their vertical leap?
Oh, they all made improvement over the summer. So they all made improvements. I mean, Lauren Stiverins, I think, went up 2 inches or 3 inches
just in the last year.
Yeah, this is when we test in August before the season. Now they don't do it during the season. We try to maintain it. Actually, we've had a couple though that broke their records during. We test them once a week. Broke their records during the season. I'm trying to remember. I think Riley Zune might have been one of them, and. Anyway, so yes, they improve every year. They work really hard in the off season, and we work on improving their jump. So they should improve as their career goes on. Now, somebody like Lauren, she's going to start reaching her max here. It's just like Usain Bolt. If he breaks the world record, I mean, it's hard to break it again and again and again.
Can Lauren dunk a basketball? I hear she's touching 11 feet.
She's not touching that high, but she should be able to dunk a basketball. We don't have her try.
Kelly says that Lauren's got a 6-inch improvement in her vertical since arriving as a freshman.
Yeah, at least that.
Wow,
at least that. But I've seen players go 6 inches in their once they get here.
How about subs? Anyone doing great things in practice?
Our B side makes me feel sorry for our A side in practice. They are relentless, and today they make it so hard on our A side, when we're working on things and trying to side out or we're trying to score points. So these guys play really well. I mean, Nicole does a great job of setting over there. Aneshka does a great job blocking. She's a fierce blocker. Haley Densberger plays libero over there. She flies all over the place. I mean, it's amazing how good they are on the B side. Then once you throw them on the A side, all of a sudden they stop. They don't know how to play because I think they feel the pressure. But they're really good.
How about Fallon?
Yeah, even Fallon. Fallon's, even though she's a little smaller, but Fallon's got a great arm and chunks it off us. So it's Mike, to answer your question before I do my 5 split steps for the night, is our B side is really relentless, and they.
Welcome back to your Sartor Heyman Jewelers Nebraska Volleyball Show. I'm John Baylor with the head coach, John Cook. Final thoughts before we go to hour 3 of Sports Nightly. And your Sports Nightly hotline is brought to you by Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. And be sure to tune in Thursday night when we will do the Nebraska Lottery Big Red replay of the game contest. We'll play a clip from last Saturday's game, and you can call in to identify the play and win with the Nebraska Lottery. 60 seconds, Greg in Grand Island. You're a patient man. Good to have you on the Nebraska. Just left us.
Oh, great.
Greg in Grand Island waited and waited, and this was his moment, and boom, stage fright.
I thought he might be talking about Bill Root, who just retired after 40-some years.
Legend.
B. Rudy's dad, legend. Some legends were getting out. It's kind of sad. But
Bill Root for the Ohio State job. They want a guy with experience who knows how to win.
I think he's chasing grandkids.
All right, Coach. Tough draw first weekend.
Oh yeah, our fans are going to get their money's worth. So we're going to need to have them on their A game, and
it can't be Love Library over there this weekend.
Yeah, it's not like that Maryland match. They were all on a turkey, still hungover from turkey too, so affected our players. So they need to come in razzed up, ready to go,
nice.
Fired up. I want to shake that building. And
if Wisconsin loses, do we get to host the next weekend?
Absolutely.
All right,
well, if we win, we got to win. We got to take care of business. But I think Ball State's only played in one crowd at 900 at Purdue. That was it.
Nice.
Everything else is smaller. So.
They've won 9 in a row.
I know.
And the Shondell shadow still overhangs.
Oh yeah.
Everything Ball State volleyball.
Yeah. This is a tough. It's a really good first, second round. For
Mizzou, UNI. Mizzou.
Yeah.
Mizzou's
got some firepower, but UNI is one of those teams, just like in the NCAA basketball tournament, you don't want to play UNI in the basketball tournament because it's going to come down to a last-second shot. They might hit it, just like they did a couple years ago. Who'd they knock off? Duke or somebody?
KU, I think.
Yeah.
UNI. And Kurt Warner, who's he rooting for, Nebraska or UNI? He's an alum of UNI. His son plays here. He's got his torn allegiances.
Yeah. So it's going to be a wild, I think, NCAA volleyball tournament.
Coach, good luck this month.
All right, thanks, JB.
That's head coach of Nebraska volleyball, John Cook. Stick around hour 3, Sports Night.